Coming up on the marketplace, we assess Akufo-Addo's commitment to making Ghana a stronger economy as he begins his second term in office. And what's ahead for Ghana's aviation sector in 2021? Aviation expert details 5 top events to hit the sector this year. Also, as millions of entrepreneurs migrate to video channels to sell their products, celebrity blogger shares with us the secrets of making cash on YouTube. Hello once again, you're welcome to the program. I'm Charles Ayete. We settle for the details after this break. Hello and welcome. The business community has called for the new parliament and government to be aggressive in the passage of bills and the introduction of policies that will improve the competitiveness of businesses. We hear first from the CEO of the AGI, Sechum Akwabwa, after which the Chamber of Commerce's CEO, the person of Mark Bedo-Abuaje.
To be very competitive. If you are not competitive, others will take your market. Even your local market will be taken away with imports from abroad. So you've got to be competitive. But being competitive means that you must have the factors of production in the most efficient manner. You must produce at a price that is very good. It means that your cost of production must be really low and competitive. Great. If you are borrowing at a very high interest cost, if you are buying electricity at a very high cost, if you are paying labor at a very high cost, then you have a challenge in being competitive. So if you ask me what has been the reason for manufacturing lagging behind, it is because our environment for manufacturing has not been conducive enough.
We are encouraging them to work together, because anything apart from that will be detrimental to Ghana and also to the economy of Ghana. We are hopeful that in the years to come, a lot of the bills, business-related bills, will go there, and they should look at it in the interest of Ghana and not in any partisan interest, because anything that will affect the private sector will also largely affect the economy of Ghana and the people of Ghana. So we are looking forward to a situation where both the NDC and the MPP will work consensuously on issues that come to them. Of course, the budget for 2021 up to 2024 from the president will go to parliament, and most of the things are issues that affect the private sector in terms of how they are going to manage the economy, how they are going to build a very robust economy, stable exchange rate, lower inflation, the revenues and the expenditures, and also debt related to Ghana's economy. So they should look at it largely in the interest of Ghana, and I hope that if they do that, Ghana will be the winner. We need peace. We need an environment that will help the private sector to try. In fact, one of the main reasons why somebody will invest in the economy is to where they have peace and where they have a secured environment. The reason why we have had a lot of FDI, among others, is that people feel that we have a secured environment, we have a peaceful environment, so they feel comfortable investing in the country.
Well, we're joined via Zoom by economic researcher with Data Bank, Courage Boti. Courage, grateful that you joined us. So, of course, first of all, the president's, statement is focused on stabilizing on the economy, job creation. Your reactions?
Good afternoon to your listeners, and very well so. It has to be about stabilizing the economy and job creation, because one, they have made some progress from the very beginning. With the restoration of macro stability somehow. You see the trends of inflation, exchange rate growth, and all the other key headline indicators have improved over their term. But for this final year, 2020, going into 2021, the COVID ravages actually unwinded most of those gains. And then now there is a need to rebuild those fundamentals going forward. And that is the basis on which you can continue to attract FDIs. If you look at it during the period 2017 to 2019, Ghana has been a top destination for FDIs in Africa. Part of the reason has been the macro fundamentals that have become a bit more stable, and then, of course, the stable political environment. And so going forward, if you are to sustain that, to attract the right investment into the right sectors, then you need to ensure that the macro fundamentals are restored again. And then, of course, you must sustain the political atmosphere to continue to attract those investments.
Well, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting you talked about the need for us to get the macro fundamentals right in the first of instances, because President Akufo-Addo has also intimated that this year is the second year for roads. Huge investment in infrastructure, even though we know expenditure has been overstretched. How best can you explore the funding availability for this government under this constraint of time?
Well, on funding, you see, the challenge has been, the reason they haven't really done enough infrastructure projects, I believe, is that the discretionary items on the budget that needs to be taken, non-discretionary items on the budget that needs to be taken care of, actually end up consuming a chunk of the budget allocation. And that is because we haven't been able to mobilize enough revenue. Over the 4-year period, you've seen the vice president in particularly championing an agenda to digitize the economy. You've seen the rollout of Ghana Card, you've seen a TIN number registration, you've seen the digital addressing, and you've seen an attempt to ensure financial inclusiveness with the interoperability project. What I expect as a way of freeing money or trying to generate enough to take care of the non-discretionary items so that our borrowing can be channeled towards the kind of infrastructure programs they envisage to be that consolidate this digitization agenda. All of the Ghana Card staff and then TIN numbers do not bring in money. If you consolidate them and find a system of using all of them to make sure that you identify the right taxes and collect them from the right sources, what it does is that you raise enough tax revenue to take care of the non-discretionary expenditure items. Then when you go to the capital market to borrow, say, $3 billion, $4 billion, $5 billion, you are channeling into capital projects like the road infrastructure, like the industrialization project that can have long-term benefits for the nation. I think that is a way, I think, if they go about it, can be successful.
Courage, we're having this discussion on the back of a World Bank report, which is somewhat downgrading our growth pattern for this year. What do you consider the economic hurdles for this second administration of President Akufo-Addo?
The hurdles really would have to be, one, you see, I'm looking towards how the recovery plan from this COVID pandemic is. Mind you, the downgrade from the World Bank is actually on the back of the COVID shocks and then how they think we could be able to recover from it. Exactly. It looks like to them, the pace of recovery hasn't been that fast. And then you look at it particularly that we may struggle to even get a 0.9% growth this year. Great. It's only reasonable to taper your expectations. Now, the plan for government has been the Ghana Cares project, which is actually focused on the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda, industrialization, and supporting enterprises. For instance, during this COVID period, you see a sector like agriculture coming through it quite nicely, 8.3% growth in Q3, and it has sustained its growth all through the year, whereas all the other sectors are struggling. And so you started a program of planting for food and jobs that has been extended to planting for export, planting rearing for food and jobs.
Exactly.
And of course,
so we do know these are interventionary reforms, but what do you consider the hurdles moving forward?
So the hurdles moving forward, I believe, is how to raise the appropriate revenues or the resources to invest in the key sectors to recover growth. Those are the heads, and that is where I am coming from, that with all of these initiatives, if you do not find appropriate funding and the right use of funding for these initiatives, you may stampede growth. And so they need to find appropriate resources and channel them to targeted sectors that have the highest capability to enhance the growth of the nation. If it's money for all, like we're spreading it all across without any consolidation in any sector, we may not realize the kind of growth. And we may end up suffering in the end. So targeted spending is what I think would take us out of the quagmire.
Great. Courage Botu, we're so grateful that he joined us. He's a research analyst with Data Bank, expressing an assessment of Akufo-Addo's commitments to a stronger economy moving forward. Well, in the lead up to the new year, there were concerns over shortage of maize, and this has had a toll on the prices of foodstuff as kinky sellers have added a cedi or two to the cost of a ball of kinky. Interestingly, maize is a staple commodity traded on the Ghana Commodity Exchange. Whatever happens on this exchange definitely affects farmers at the farm gates. The Chief Operations Officer of the exchange, Robert Duonu-Owu, joins us via Zoom for a discussion on the performance so far. Robert, we're so grateful that you joined us. Happy New Year to you. First of all, explain to us, how did maize perform on the exchange in December? If you could unmute kindly.
Good afternoon, Charles. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, great. So generally, as you rightly said, there was maize shortage in the whole market, and the GCX, being a key player in the market, also had a pinch of that shortage. However, on the GCX, due to the value proposition that we have, whereby we offer buyers the quality that they need, and then sellers also the price that they need, we managed to satisfy most of our buyers who wanted to buy off the exchange, and the sellers who wanted to sell at the right price also on the floor of the exchange. But I might say that generally, a lot of the challenges were on the sell side, largely probably due to the shortage, but I think also that it was because of the influx of a lot of traders to the farm gates and buying at exorbitant prices from the farmers at the farm gates. That made it very challenging for farmers who were depositing at the GCX to price and keep the price stable enough for buyers to, take advantage of the prices and then trade off the floor of the exchange. So, for example, you get a seller inputting a price today. Before the buyer makes up his mind to match that price, prices increase the next day. In December, for example, we opened the year at maize selling at 1,540. That's 1,540 cedis per metric ton. As at the end of December, prices had gone up to about 1,800 per metric ton. So you can see the volatility in the price, how it made it difficult for the buyers to, have the sustainability to be able to, plan their businesses.
I'm afraid we're losing Robert there. If he could, we'll try and work the lines to get Robert there. But of course, he's advancing this discussion on the impact of the artificial shortage of maize on trading on the bears. We'll try and get in touch with Robert shortly on this one. But let's now veer into the aviation industry, because this space is ready to brace the challenges and opportunities of travels in 2021. Already, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has revealed that it has lost nearly 95% of its revenue income due to the novel coronavirus inflicted ban on foreign travel. Now we have a vaccine. Flights have resumed amid high expectations for this year. Well, listen to this interview I had with the aviation minister last year, Joseph Kofi Ada, for the prospects of the aviation sector this year.
I see the future of air traffic being as important, if not more important, in helping to speed up the development of the world, in particular the transformation of Ghana. The investors who come to Ghana with ideas, with funds, fly into Ghana. So we are more or less the face of the investment in Ghana. Tourists who come to Ghana generally come by air. They come through us. The unfortunate COVID-19 pandemic has made us to learn. I think we're wiser. We count on the health professionals to come up with whether it's vaccines or any other way of curtailing this. One that's done. People have lost so much business that they want to come quickly and try to make up for that. So I see it being more dynamic than even it's been in the past. I see a lot of traveling taking place. Even though the Zoom conferencing and telecasting is taking place, it's not the same as the handshake, it's not the same as meeting face-to-face, negotiating and come to compromising and signing agreements and that sort of thing. I see it's taking off rapidly going to next year. I cannot say that can go into the end of this year, but I think that between now and the last quarter of the year, I see all kinds of ideas that would come to solve this problem that we're confronted with. Going to next year, I think the availability of infrastructure, the world-class nature of the infrastructure and the service delivery, that would make us competitive to other operators globally. It's what we should be looking to do as Ghana. Bear in mind that Ghanaians travel a lot. We go to Europe, we go to North America, we go to South America now, we go to Asia. It's not going to stop. If we're able to solve the problem of the COVID-19, Ghanaians will still want to go there and do business. And so I see it still being more dynamic, being more active, contributing a lot more. And I think the fundamental policy direction of the ministry, which is the aviation-driven development agenda that we have in mind, want to make sure that any infrastructure that we develop is going to add a lot more, 3, 4, 5 times that to the general development of the nation. For instance, the airport city within which we sit now is just an example of what one gentleman, Wing Commander Mensah, introduced back in the late 90s, and it took off in the early 2000s. We are trying to do that all over the country. If you go to Tamale, for instance, we're looking at the airport city enclave where people have already made proposals on what they should put out there. Kumasi Airport City is there. We have an aviation convention center that we plan to make this aviation hub for convention, exhibition, conference facilities for the aviation sector. There's a lot of conferencing, tourism work that goes on, and a lot of revenue coming out of that. That we hope that we can do. Kumasi being a cultural center for us in Ghana, and being a business area, being dynamic in terms of business activity, that's something that we have some land that we're working on to try and develop that. We want to get all those things ready so that as we go into next year, the transformation of the sector would be done by this. And so wherever we go and set up an airport city, the smart city concept will be introduced, where all of the civil works, all of the engineering has been done in such a manner that all the things that we want to do, to deal with in terms of making Ghana clean, in terms of drains being so well done, the water is flowing smoothly without floods and all of these things. We are trying to use the aviation sector to drive the development effort, to use the smart city concept to transform Ghana, where metropolitan authorities can also learn from and try to work with their constituents to get things done. There's a lot more that can happen with aviation, and I see aviation playing a bigger role going to the future.
Well, that was an interview the aviation minister granted us last year. So what lies ahead for the aviation sector? Shawn Mendes is an aviation expert and the former CEO of Africa World Airlines. And he has made a list of 5 key developments that will happen in the aviation space this year. If we could pull it up, the top 5 trends in air travel in 2021. First, he says biosecurity is here to stay. Second, domestic and regional travel will see a boost. Also, self-service technology will become more prevalent and cheaper travel options for everyone. And the fifth being catering is on the way out as people focus more on the need for sanitary travel. Well, interesting predictions there, but he joins us via Zoom to explain his points. Shawn, we're so grateful that you joined us. Interesting points you laid out there, but if you could expatiate, first of all, you made mention of that biosecurity is here to stay. How so?
Good afternoon, Charles. Yeah, I think biosecurity is the current buzzword, and I think it's already becoming pretty much a standard when you are traveling. You think of getting your air ticket, you think of getting your passport, your visa, and now you're thinking of getting your COVID test or your vaccination proof or whatever other biosecurity protocols are going to become required for international travel. And this will vary across different countries around the world. So I think that is a trend that is going to be here definitely for not just 2021, but beyond that. And, it's not something that may seem as a huge change for people in Africa, where we've been used to traveling with yellow fever cards and things as such. But I think on a more global basis, this biosecurity documentation and the proof of biosecurity is going to become a integral part of the travel experience.
Interesting. Domestic and regional travel to see a boost?
Well, I think we've already seen this. Domestic travel is a lot easier.
Okay.
Regional travel, if you're just going from Nigeria to Ghana, for example, is a lot simpler right now for people to travel closer to home within their home countries or neighboring countries than it is to be traveling long haul. If you're right now, a lot of the traditional tourist markets, such as Europe and North America, are still essentially closed to international visitors, while markets close to home, no matter which country you're in, most countries are open to domestic travel, and there's plenty of opportunities for people people in Ghana to explore the north, to explore Takoradi, to explore all sorts of things, and I think domestic and regional air transport will get a boost from that.
Are we going to be expecting some new entrants?
I think there's always going to be the potential for new entrants where a good opportunity exists. I know a lot of people are talking about entering the market. The business case definitely exists for people to do well in airlines in Ghana in the near future. It's how well people can execute on that.
Great. Let's now end on this very good note. Cheaper travel options. We know After is here. Briefly, if you could explain to us what you mean by cheaper travel options for air travelers.
Well, I think the key to this is when airlines get back to their pre-pandemic schedules, or at least begin to grow back into that, there's going to be a lot of empty seats. The demand is not going to recover until the supply is put into the market. So the people who move first, those who are willing to travel as soon as borders begin to open and so forth, will have the ability to take advantage of some very good deals that undoubtedly are going to be out there. We've seen Emirates do this already with offering hotel stays and stuff for visitors to Dubai. And I think you'll see this with a lot of airlines, a lot of governments who will incentivize travel by reducing fares, by reducing taxes, and, getting people back and moving again. So if you're ready to move, there's some very good deals coming to you probably in the middle of 2021. Great
to hear that. Tremendous, grateful that he joined us. He's an aviation expert and of course the former CEO of Africa World Airlines, sharing with us the prospects of air travel in 2021. You're still watching The Marketplace. Stay with us. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. One of the resolutions of techpreneurs out there is how to cash in on social media. Many online businesses are turning to video channels as YouTube to sell their products and make it ready, and of course, make ready cash out of it. But how do you do that? What's the secret in getting rich on YouTube? Amel Deborah is a celebrity blogger. He joins us via Zoom. Amel, grateful that you joined. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Charles. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. So you are into the blogging sphere. Of course, we have seen the kind of things that you continue to do. You have a large following. How does one break through the ranks of social media to make it big on YouTube?
Well, the interesting thing is most of these platforms have a culture of their own, and things work according to their own way. So for instance, what you can do with Twitter, you may not be able to do with Instagram, Facebook, or even YouTube. So it's important for people who are on these platforms to understand each of the platforms individually and then know how they can use it to maximize whatever it is that they do. Specifically on YouTube, here in Ghana, a lot of people have seen the ability to make some sort of money with it. And so you see a lot of YouTube channels popping up because of the ability to monetize your video. And of course, based on your audience, the interaction with advertising that is shown on your videos, then you make a certain amount of money over the period. So it's important for people to know each of the various platforms, how to use it, and how to maximize all the potentials within there.
So you have established Amel TV on YouTube. Tell us briefly how the journey started for you.
So since I started blogging, it has been very one way. That always been the website and creating content in text and pictures, etc. Right. But along the line, I also joined a few companies like Ringier to launch pulse.com.gh, and then of course Genesis Technology to also launch yen.com.gh. And I found out that as part of the strategy of these multinationals, video played an integral role. So taking back what we started with Pulse and looking at what Yen also wanted to do, after leaving these places, I also decided that since a lot of video content is happening online and it was more like the future of it, I should also do it, equip myself so that I'm able to be in that mix. So that's how our TV came about. And once we set up, I did an audition, let people who were interested come in as hosts.
Wow.
And then we started producing content. And we have content that cuts across from interviews, entertainment, lifestyle, event coverages, and more. So
how much are you making? How much are you making out of it? How much are you making out of YouTube?
So currently we're not making much. We are lucky if we make $500 in a month.
Wow.
It's also because our YouTube it's growing, and the nature of content we are doing is very different from what is known in that space.
Okay.
And so as content producers, our daily challenge has been, do we do what people want, or we stick to what we believe in and test it?
Yeah.
We change every now and then to introduce a bit of what people like, and then they respond to it. So we are still in that phase with our YouTube. But like I said, we have become an establishment altogether, and so we're able to use our presence on all the other all other social media platforms to make revenue, and at the end of the day, it adds up from all the various places. But we are still cracking YouTube because although I've had a YouTube channel that was very old, that was my personal one, and now our TV was from scratch, and so we had to introduce the content, the ideology to our audience, and that audience is growing over the period. Yeah.
Great submission, Amir.
There are people who are making up to $10,000, $30,000 a month. And so it shows you it can be done. And these people are in Ghana. So, yes.
Great submission, Amir Deborah. We're so grateful that you joined us with these tips on how to be rich on social media, specifically that of YouTube. I was taking notes, and of course, who knows? We could establish our own personal YouTube channels in the future. That's it by way of Marketplace. I'm Charles Item. Enjoy the rest of our programs.